Donald Trump has become the first former United States president to face criminal charges. The case in New York relates to alleged hush money payments to an adult entertainer before the 2016 election. Mr. Trump denies wrongdoing. Well, for the very latest, we can speak now to our Washington correspondent, Gary O'Donoghue. Gary, great to get you on the program. And I know that the information is coming in fast and furiously. Just give us the latest of what we've heard today.
Well, it's worth pausing for a moment and realising that this is really a true moment in history. That word is overly used, but this is a moment in history. The first time ever that an American president or former president has been charged with a crime. Now, we know this investigation has been going on for some time. We know it relates to payments made to an adult film star before the 2016 general election. We don't know the details of the charges he's facing, but we expect them to relate to that payment and whether or not it contravened bookkeeping, financial record-keeping laws, and indeed potential state laws on election contributions. Now, the district attorney in Manhattan has been hearing evidence for a good period of time now. He's heard from a lot of witnesses, and we thought that this had gone away for a little while, that they were still pondering what to do. But it's clear now that the grand jury that hears this evidence, that votes on these issues, has voted to indict Donald Trump. He's been rallying his troops on this call and on this issue for the last few days. He attacked the district attorney in Manhattan at a rally at the weekend. He's referred to Alvin Bragg, who is a black man, as a racist, as an animal, all sorts of other epithets as well. But now what's happened is that Donald Trump is facing criminal charges. Now, this is both jeopardy for Donald Trump and an opportunity for Donald Trump. This is something he will see as a potential problem, of course, but also something that will help him to encourage his base to actually rise up. And don't forget, he's already called on them, if this were to happen, to protest. He's already suggested there would be destruction and violence if this happened. So people will be holding their breath now these charges have been brought, to see what his reaction is and to see what the reaction of his supporters is over the coming weeks.
Indeed. And Gary, as you point out, marking this significant point in the turn of events that we've seen so far, but specifically, what can we expect to happen next in terms of the legal process?
Well, the brutal truth is that Donald Trump will be asked to travel to New York to attend what's called here a booking session. And that means going to the district attorney's office in Lower Manhattan. It's a building that's part of the courthouse, and he will have his fingerprints taken, he will have his mugshot taken, he will have his DNA taken. He will then be taken before a judge, and he'll have to enter a plea on the charges. All that is what happens to everyday accused people in this country, and it'll happen to him as well. Now, there'll be some choreography around this. With such a high-profile figure, they'll want to arrange this to avoid the potential for difficulties and for any trouble in the streets outside. They've been building barricades at various points around this courthouse. They were doing that last week when we thought the charges were imminent then. So there will be a good deal of planning involved here. And we know, for example, that the New York Police Department, the Secret Service have all been talking to one another about what to do if this day came. And now this day has come, and we will see it unfold on your television screens, the pictures of a former president facing criminal charges and his mugshot that will reverberate around the world.
Gary O'Donoghue, fantastic to get you on the program with the latest on that story. Thanks for joining us on Newsday. Well, we can speak now to Lynn Sweet, Washington bureau chief of the Chicago Sun-Times, who's also, I imagine, been watching the latest information coming through on this story. Lynn, great to get you on Newsday. Your reaction in the first instance, I don't know how much of what my colleague Gary O'Donoghue was saying just now you managed to hear, but just that point that he made about the fact that this is really a moment in history, given what's happened today.
Well, I did hear it, and the significance isn't just he's the first former president to be indicted, he's also the first twice impeached president to go on to have a criminal indictment. And he's also the first former president criminally indicted who's twice impeached, who is the front runner for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. So there's a lot of things going on right now that is going to happen very quickly in the American race for the president on the Republican side. Then there is the investigation itself. Then there is, as your colleague said, the mugshot that will be viewed all over the world.
Yeah, Lynn, it's worth pointing out, as we have been in our reporting, of course, that Mr. Trump has previously denied any connection to this and denied the allegations, of course, and also warned, as Gary was saying just now, of potential death and destruction if these charges were to go ahead. What is the reaction that you are expecting from supporters of his throughout this?
Well, we have some of the reaction in already. My inbox is piling up. But we've known that some of the people running or thinking of running for president of the United States, former Vice President Mike Pence, Florida Governor DeSantis, Nikki Haley, they're all trying to discredit the investigation. That's the angle they are taking. One thing to watch for is if any leading Republican just says that an indicted former president should not run for president. He should step aside. So step one, you could see how it's coming, is discredit the investigation. I already had the young Republicans of New York put out a statement already saying that it was a, quote, cabal of radical figures who are going after the former president. But then on your point, we know that on January 6th, people came to the Capitol because President Trump asked them to, and he said it will be wild. He has been all but sane, come and demonstrate in my behalf in New York, which is why there's all these security measures being taken. And that will be closely watched, because if it happened once on January 6th, there's no way to know, given all these circumstances and knowing the power that President Trump has to be persuasive and rally his supporters, there's no way to know if this is going to happen again.
Lynn, in terms of, your political reporting career, when you look at something like this happening, in the precedents that it sets, or, this unusual case that has come to light, and the character of Donald Trump himself, just to reflect on that, if you don't mind.
Well, thank you for asking me that, because every time I think that in covering the Trump presidency, you think you have hit the bottom. You think you're at the basement. You would think somebody who is impeached once wouldn't survive much, and then you find that they have survived. They've survived a second impeachment and have gone on. Plus, as your listeners must know, and you've been reporting, there are other investigations going on against him right now, too. So the sweep of this, in terms of the profound number of investigations swirling around one central figure in the United States who may well be the nominee again and may well be a president again, it is stunning in its breadth and depth of what is happening in our country right now.